You walk into a room you've entered 1,000 times before. The light falls the same way. The air feels familiar. Nothing has changed. And yet, for a brief moment, you pause. Not because something is wrong, but because something feels missing. You stand there, quietly, trying to remember why you came in. It's not panic, it's not confusion, it's just a small gap. A few seconds where your mind doesn't move the way you expect it to, and then it comes back. Oh, right, I came in here for my glasses. You smile, you move on. But something about that moment lingers, because it wasn't serious, but it felt unfamiliar. And if you've had a moment like that, you're not alone. There's a quiet pattern many people begin to notice after 65. Not dramatic, not alarming, just different. And the truth is, your brain may not be getting weaker. It may be learning to work differently. If you've ever wondered about those small, almost invisible changes in how your mind feels, this is a gentle space to explore them together. And if you care about keeping your mind clear, steady, and confident in the years ahead, you're warmly invited to like this video and subscribe, not for information overload, but for quiet understanding, one step at a time, because sometimes the most important changes are the ones we barely notice at first. It doesn't feel serious at first. You brush it off until it happens again. Like the moment when you walk into a room and forget why. Let's stay with that feeling for a second. There's a woman named Eleanor. She's 72. She lives alone in a small, sunlit home she's cared for over decades. Every morning she makes tea. One day, she walked into the kitchen, stood by the counter, and paused. She looked at the kettle, at the cup, at the window, and for just a few seconds, she couldn't remember what she was about to do. Not lost, not confused, just suspended. Then it came back. Oh, tea. She laughed softly and continued. But later that day, she thought about it again. Because it wasn't the forgetting that stayed with her. It was the pause. That quiet gap where her mind didn't respond the way it always had. What's happening in moments like this is subtle. Your brain isn't failing to remember. It's briefly shifting how it retrieves information. When you were younger, your brain worked quickly, almost automatically. It would jump from intention to action without hesitation. But over time, something changes. Your brain begins to slow down just enough to check, to filter, to prioritize. It's not just reacting anymore. It's choosing. And sometimes, that choice takes a second longer. So instead of moving instantly, you experience a pause, a small delay between thought and action. It doesn't feel like a big deal, but it feels new. A gentle way to support your brain in these moments is something very simple. When you walk into a room, pause intentionally, just for 3 seconds. Take a breath and quietly ask yourself, what did I come here to do? Not with pressure, not with urgency, just a soft reminder. Over time, this creates a new rhythm. Instead of expecting your brain to move instantly, you give it space to respond. And in that space, clarity returns more naturally. Have you noticed moments like that, where the pause feels more noticeable than the forgetting? There's another kind of moment that often goes unnoticed. You're speaking to someone, maybe telling a story you've told many times before, and suddenly, a word disappears. Not a complicated word, a simple one. Something you've used your whole life. It's right there, but you can't quite reach it. You pause. You search. You feel it sitting just behind your thoughts. And then, a few seconds later, it arrives. Oh, that's the word. There's a man named Robert. He's 68, a retired teacher. He loves telling stories. One afternoon, he was sitting with his granddaughter, describing a trip he took years ago. He said, "We walked along the..." And then he stopped. He smiled, slightly embarrassed. The path by the water. Boardwalk? His granddaughter asked. Yes, boardwalk. He laughed it off. But later he noticed something. It wasn't that he didn't know the word. It was that it took longer to surface. That small delay can feel unsettling. But here's what's really happening. Your brain stores words in networks. Over time, those networks don't disappear. They simply become less direct. Instead of taking the fastest path, your brain may take a slightly longer route to find the same word. It's like knowing exactly where something is, but walking there through a different hallway. It takes a little more time, but you still arrive. This is not loss, it's reorganization. A gentle way to work with this change is to allow the pause. When a word doesn't come immediately, don't rush to replace it. Take a breath. Let the space exist. Often the word will arrive on its own, and if it doesn't, describing it is perfectly fine. In fact, this process strengthens your brain's flexibility. You're not just retrieving words, you're building new pathways. Have you ever felt that moment where the word is there, but just out of reach for a second? There's another quiet shift many people notice. You're listening to someone speak. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's the television, and you hear every word. But understanding the full meaning takes a moment longer than it used to. There's a woman named Gloria. She's 75. She enjoys watching her favorite shows in the evening. One night, her daughter called. They talked about a few things. Nothing complicated. But Gloria found herself asking, "Can you say that again?" Not because she didn't hear it, but because she needed a second to process it. After the call, she sat quietly, thinking, because she realized something. She was hearing clearly, but understanding felt slower. This is another subtle change. Your brain is still receiving information, but it's taking more time to organize it. Why? Because it's being more careful. Instead of reacting instantly, your brain is evaluating, connecting what you hear to what you already know, making sure it understands correctly. This adds a small delay, but it also adds depth. A simple way to support this is to give yourself permission to slow the conversation. If something doesn't land immediately, it's okay to pause. It's okay to ask someone to repeat. And when you're listening, try focusing on one voice at a time, not multiple sounds, not background noise, just one stream of information. This reduces the load on your brain and helps clarity come more easily. Have you ever noticed that you hear everything, but need just a moment more to fully understand? There's also a moment that feels even more familiar. You start doing something simple, maybe preparing a meal, maybe organizing a drawer. And then, something interrupts you. A phone call, a thought, a different task. You turn your attention, and when you return, you feel slightly disoriented, not lost, just unsure where you left off. There's a man named Harold. He's 70. One afternoon he was making lunch. He cut vegetables, turned on the stove. Then his phone rang. He stepped away, talked for a few minutes. When he came back, he looked at the counter, and for a moment, he couldn't remember what step he was on. The ingredients were there. Everything was in place, but the sequence was unclear. This happens because your brain is becoming less efficient at switching between tasks quickly. When you were younger, you could move from one thing to another and return without thinking. Now, your brain prefers continuity. It wants to stay with one task until it's complete. When that flow is interrupted, it takes time to rebuild it. This is not a weakness. It's a shift toward focus. A helpful habit here is to finish one small step before switching. Even something as simple as saying out loud, "I'm turning off the stove," or "I'll come back to this after the call." This anchors the moment. So when you return, your brain has a reference point. Have you felt that slight disconnection after stepping away from something mid-task? There's another change that feels even more internal. You're faced with a simple decision. what to eat, what to wear, whether to go out or stay in, nothing complicated. And yet, you hesitate longer than you used to. There's a woman named Margaret. She's 73. One morning, she stood in front of her closet, looking at two outfits, both familiar, both comfortable, and she stood there for longer than she expected. Not confused, just considering. Later, she realized something. She wasn't struggling to choose. She was thinking more carefully. Your brain, over time, begins to weigh decisions differently. Instead of choosing quickly, it evaluates more. It considers comfort, context, past experience. This creates a longer decision process, but often a more thoughtful one. A simple way to ease this is to reduce the number of choices. Prepare 2 or 3 options in advance, so when the moment comes, you're not starting from zero, you're selecting from clarity. Have you ever noticed that decisions feel slower, but somehow more deliberate? And finally, there's a moment that feels almost invisible. Something unexpected happens, a sudden noise, a quick movement, a change in your environment, and your reaction is just slightly slower than it used to be. There's a man named Daniel. He's 69. One evening, he was walking in his backyard. A bird flew suddenly from a nearby bush. For a split second, he froze, not out of fear, but because his reaction took a moment to catch up. He noticed it. That slight delay. This happens because your brain is prioritizing accuracy over speed. Instead of reacting instantly, it takes a fraction of a second to assess. Is this a threat? Is this important? That fraction of a second feels noticeable, but it's often protective. A helpful habit here is awareness. When you're in situations that may require quick reactions, move a little more intentionally, not out of fear, but out of alignment with how your brain now works. Have you felt that subtle delay in moments that used to feel automatic? When you look at all of these moments together, the pause in a room, the missing word, the slower understanding, the interruption in tasks, the longer decisions, the delayed reactions, they can feel disconnected, random, but they share something important. They are not signs of failure. They are signs of adjustment. Your brain is not shutting down. It is reorganizing. It is shifting from speed to precision, from automatic response to thoughtful awareness. And when you understand that, something changes. The fear softens. The frustration eases. Because instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you begin to ask, "What is my brain learning to do differently?" And that question opens a new kind of relationship with your own mind. One based not on worry, but on awareness. If you've experienced any of these moments, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not losing yourself. You're evolving into a different rhythm, one that values presence over speed, clarity over urgency, and intention over habit. If any part of this felt familiar to you, you're gently invited to share your experience in the comments. Sometimes, simply putting it into words helps it feel less uncertain. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this time to understand your mind with kindness. And wherever you are today, may your thoughts feel steady, your awareness feel calm, and your days feel quietly clear.